Well, I see we have a magic box here this morning, and usually there's more than one minister here to tell the story, but I think I'll have to see what it's got to offer me this morning and see what I can do with it. Sound good? Well, we have another box, a nice little gift it looks like. Oh, that's full of mice. Ooh, 3 little mice. Okay. Well, we have a couple of other things in here, too. We have a rock, just like a plain hard rock here. You'll like this one. We have a sparkly, glowing stone. So we've got a kind of regular rock and a sparkly, glowing one that is getting sparkles all over me. But that's okay. You know, it occurs to me that today is Earth Day. And these objects in here remind me of one of my favorite children's storybooks. It's called Milo and the Magical Stones. Has anybody ever heard of this? A couple of hands. Amazing. Well, so I'm going to tell you the story of Milo and the Magical Stones, because I think it's a really appropriate message for today. So Milo is a mouse. And Milo lives in this community of field mice on an island in the middle of the ocean. And one day, on a very cold, wintry day, he goes out in search of food. And he's on the mountain on this island, and he looks down, and there's this big, deep crevice in the mountain. And at the bottom of it, there's something glowing. And so he goes and he finds a really long stick that he can kind of sit down there and pry out this glowing thing. And it turns out that it's this beautiful glowing stone. And it's warm. It gives out this warmth. And so he takes it home to his cave where he lives, and it keeps him warm and comfortable, and it's glowing, and it's lovely. But the other mice in the other cave start noticing this glow coming from Milo's cave, and so they go to see what's going on. And they decide that they all want one of these magical stones for themselves to keep them cold in the winter. But at that moment, this wise elder mouse in the community stands up, and he reminds them that this island is their home, and this rock, this beautiful glowing stone, has come from that home. And so if we're going to take one, we need to give something in return. Now, what's interesting about this story is that it has 2 different endings. One is a very happy ending, and the other is pretty sad. So do you have a preference of which you hear first? Oh, people want to hear the sad one. Last service, there was no consensus whatsoever, but clearly we want to hear the sad one first and then on a happy note. So, the sad ending. So, the elder mice stands up and gives this kind of warning, wise reminder to the community of field mice, and the only one who listens is Milo. And so Milo goes back and he finds a stone down on the shore, kind of a regular, ordinary-looking stone like this, and he starts preparing it to make it beautiful to give back in the spot where he took the glowing stone. The other mice, however, start going to the mountain where Milo found the glowing stone, and they all take a stone for themselves and they bring it back to their caves. And then they're so comfortable and warm, and these glowing stones are so great that they decide they want to go out and get even more. And they start this kind of competition of who can have the biggest glowing stone and the most glowing stones, until, you know, they're gradually kind of scraping away, chipping away at the mountain, until the walls of the mountain become so thin that they cave in. I mean, this mountain that is the sort of dominant feature of this island caves in, and their habitat basically is destroyed. That's kind of a sad ending, isn't it? But luckily there's another ending. So what would happen if all the mice had actually listened to the wise elder? Things probably would have turned out differently. So in the happy ending, all the mice listen, and what they do is they do go, and each of them decides to get one glowing, sparkling stone from the earth to keep themselves comfortable in the cold winter in their caves. But then they all get together, and they go down to the shore, and they each find an ordinary rock, and they start carving them, like carving suns into them, or painting them, or decorating them in some way to make them beautiful And then they all go together and they put them back in the mountain where they had taken the glowing stones, so that they were giving back to the place that they had taken from. And each year, maybe on a day kind of like Earth Day, they would take their glowing stones and they would parade around and they would celebrate and they would give thanks for all that their island, that the earth, had given to them. So that's a much better ending, isn't it? And so when I think about this story in the context of Earth Day, I think about how each of us has probably or definitely taken something like a glowing stone from the earth, right? Whether it was a beautiful rock or shell or a flower or something, because we wanted to take that beauty home with us. Or, all of us have taken water or food from the earth just to live ourselves. But Earth Day is an opportunity to remind ourselves that we can't just take. We have to give something back to the earth that helps to support us in living, right? And so today, what I want to encourage you to think about, to talk about with your family and friends, for the children to talk about in their classes this morning, is what you can do to give back to this earth that is your home and that gives us so much and allows us to live. And so on that note, let's sing the children to their classes with their teachers. Our blessing is "Go now in peace." The words to the song are inside the back cover of your hymnals.